I became a teacher because the teacher I needed in my youth wasn't available. I left my undergraduate degree in a space of confusion about my future. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I knew I was looking for a way to make a difference in the world. The world I knew could be dark and frightening. I've lived with depression, anxiety, and abused alcohol to cope with the darkness I felt. I didn't seem to fit in, even from a young age, and thought back to the fraught years of my teenage life. I knew I could make a difference as a teacher, and began my journey into education. With this lens, I look to create a safe and welcoming space for my students. My philosophy is a simple one. Be kind, act with unconditional positive regard, and empower rather than enable. I believe in a holistic model of education where the whole child is met and nurtured. The need for a caring, socially responsive education is top of mind when I consider my philosophy. Hence, the caring pedagogy of Paulo Freire and Nell Noddings, paired with the work of Linda O'Neill on trauma-informed practice, have been revolutionary for my pedagogy and philosophy. In the trauma-informed lens, safety, relationship, and care are at the forefront of needs, especially within the context of adverse childhood experiences and youth trauma backgrounds. O'Neill's work focuses on what trauma-informed practice is and how it can be applied to the classroom. Her work examines how trauma impacts the brain and what practices can help students manage their regulation and engage with their education. As I currently work with a population of vulnerable and at-risk students, this visioning is of deeper importance. In this vein, then, I believe that the work of Nell Noddings is paramount to meeting these holistic needs. Relationship is at the heart of all things, including meaningful learning. Without a caring backdrop, the relationship between teachers and students is still one of power and oppression. Trust and togetherness are absolutely required if, as educators, we co-teach our students about the nature of injustice and the importance of reformation. When students are genuinely cared about and cared for, a deeper sense of belonging and buy-in is achieved and learning is more easily accessible. Too many of my colleagues view care as a perk or bonus, not something necessary to the job. To them, content and curriculum drives the relationships, and having a positive, caring environment is not a necessity. I argue just the opposite. To have meaningful learning, there must be a culture of care, safety, and support. The work of Freire, and indeed other critical theorists, also match closely to my own philosophies. After analyzing pedagogy of the oppressed, my passion for social change is reignited, and my own practice is shifting. As a millennial, I see the economic and social instability of contemporary society as a necessitating force towards revolution. The dynamic of power, of oppressed and oppressor is made more clear through Freire's writing, and is one I can no longer claim ignorance of. Education is the key to moving past the antiquated classism of the capitalist society of haves and have-nots. It is also the realm in which I've chosen to make a difference in the world, and thereby the area I can affect change. With the destruction of the natural environment looming, and the polarization of people against one another, we need more than ever to cherish the connections between us as subjects of history. Connection is the tie that binds the opportunity for wide societal reform. Education, then, is the best vehicle for this change. Cultivating the inner spirit of students to find their own truth and path by honoring the connections we have forged and by listening to their stories are one way of ensuring the continued vibrancy of the planet and of all the peoples that inhabit her. Educators have the task to build students up towards their own greatness. We owe it to the future generations to teach critical theory, connection, and understanding. As we as a society face deeper and deeper divides between people,